Would you go 7 years without buying new clothes? Today, I'm going to share with you my experience of buying exclusively secondhand clothing as a fashion designer. And of course, I'm going to tell you why I did it, and I'm going to share with you some pros and cons about thrifting, and also my thrifting experience and how it has changed over the course of the past 7 years, because it has changed so much. Some things I'm happy about, some things I'm not. So I'm going to share with you all of those. And at the end, just a little bonus, I'm going to tell you about some things that I had to buy new, because even though I've tried, there are certain things that it's unavoidable and you have to buy them new, and this is what I'm going to tell you at the end. So stick till the end and let's go. And by the way, if you don't know, my name is Sarah. I'm a fashion designer and a pattern maker. I always say I'm also a pattern maker because not every fashion designer is a pattern maker. I don't know. I just feel like I have to always say it. And I teach people how to sew, and I sell sewing patterns. So if you're interested, then you can subscribe. So let's start the video. Why did I start exclusively thrifting? In 2016, I got really into zero waste movement. I watched this TED Talk about a girl who was able to fit all of the trash that she produced in the past few years in a little jar, and that really inspired me. And of course, that led me to ethical fashion and learning about sustainable practices and fair wages and where are the clothes made and all that kind of stuff. And that basically led me to thrift shopping. But before I started exclusively thrifting from 2018 till today, I went through a time when I tried to create my own capsule wardrobe with normal clothes that I could buy at stores. It was very interesting because at the time I would go to a store and ask sales assistant where were the clothes made, who made them, did they get paid a fair wage, all that stuff, or I asked about fabric. And of course, they didn't know the answers to my questions. I think they thought I was dumb. I don't know, I just genuinely was curious. And after some time, I got more into sustainability. And in 2018, I started fashion school. And that's when I decided to just thrift. Because when you go to fashion school, you learn so much about how fashion industry is terrible. So, you go, you're so excited, I'm going to design and change the world. And they tell you, you're the problem. And you're like, oh, cool. Okay, there's a big problem in the fashion industry and there definitely needs to be some change done. So at the time, I went to fashion school and I learned more about sustainability. And of course, I didn't want to be the problem, which you're not a problem if you're buying new stuff. Like, I'm going to talk about it in future videos, but I wanted to buy exclusively secondhand. And on top of that, I started learning more about clothing quality. I started learning about garment construction, about fabric. And I mean, you wouldn't believe, or maybe you would, but it is very hard to find good quality clothing in normal stores or normal fast fashion stores. What I love about thrift stores is that you can find a lot of vintage clothes. Vintage clothes are just made better. I'm not gonna lie, they're made better. And you can also find clothes that are high-end and luxury. That definitely gave me access to a bigger pile of beautiful clothes that I would probably never be able to afford, especially as a student. So that's kind of how I got into thrifting. And now I'm going to tell you about some of the biggest lessons and things that I've learned and noticed throughout those 7 years. So the first thing that I've noticed is that you don't need a lot of money to look good. I know a lot of people think that you need money to be beautiful because you need money for Botox, facelifts, and all that stuff. Maybe that's true. But I think when it comes to clothes, it's actually opposite. Money cannot buy style. When you go to a thrift store, you can find so many, you would be surprised. A thrift store is like a little treasure hunt. You can find so many beautiful, high quality pieces for 5% of its original price, maybe even less. I found a lot of designer pieces. I also found a lot of just normal clothes that are just better quality, because not everything that is fast fashion that's found in normal stores is bad quality. I'm gonna give you one example of a sweater. So I love cashmere sweaters. I love wool sweaters, cashmere sweaters, silk blends, angora. I love all of that. And those sweaters are usually quite expensive. But every time I go to a thrift store, I can find so many beautiful cashmere sweaters. I think the reason for it is that people don't know how to wash them and they're too lazy to wash them. So they just throw them away, because if you know anything about wool and cashmere, you have to wash them a certain way. You cannot just throw them in the washing machine and dryer. You cannot. It's almost insane how many beautiful cashmere sweaters you can find there. And a cashmere sweater will always look better than a new acrylic sweater that you buy at the store. That leads me to my second point. The second thing that I learned is that thrifting helped me to escape vicious trend cycle. I literally am out of it. I don't care what's trendy. I don't care about micro trends. I don't care what jean style is popular right now. I buy clothes that look good on me. I buy clothes that complement my skin tone. When you thrift, you just don't really care about trend cycle anymore because you find so many beautiful, unique pieces that I don't know, people just don't really care about. And I know some people might not like the way I dress. I tend to dress sometimes like a little grandma, but guess what? I like those grandma clothes. And even though I work in fashion industry and I do have to be aware of trends, I'm not always paying attention to micro trends. And those are the trends that influencers and fashion industry love to just push on you. They love little micro trend that will be popular for a week or two because that is what makes them money. So if you would love to escape trend cycle, then definitely thrift. This is like the best cure for it. Of course, thrifting is my favorite hobby and I love it. But there are some things that I don't love about thrifting. And one of the main things that I don't love about it is FOMO. FOMO stands for fear of missing out. Shopping secondhand at thrift stores, it's like a big treasure hunt. You cannot really plan what you're gonna get. I mean, you can have some things on the list. If you're looking for a leather jacket or white t-shirt or something, you can have it on a list, but there's no guarantee that you will find it. That's why buying secondhand can be a little overwhelming. And sometimes if you find something that you love, you have to buy it immediately because it won't be there the next time you visit the thrift store. In the past, I would buy a lot of things that I just thought I won't be able to find ever again at the thrift store. It's such a unique find. I need to have it. And nowadays, I have learned that if something is meant to be for me, it's meant to be for me. Every time I go to a thrift store now, I try a bunch of different things. And if I'm not fully satisfied with the garment, whatever I'm buying, I just don't buy it. And in the past, young Sarah would absolutely buy whatever because, again, I had FOMO. And now I just don't care. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. And this is something that I would advise you to do as well. If you're not fully satisfied with the item, just don't buy it. It's fine. You'll find something better. And over time, you will learn more about yourself and your personal style. And nowadays, I don't go to a thrift store that often. I sew a lot of my clothes, but I still love to go every now and then, once a month, and just see what they have. Another thing that I have noticed is thrifting has become so mainstream. It's not this niche alternative thing anymore that only certain people do. It's very popular nowadays, and because of that, the prices at the thrift store skyrocketed. I mean, there are many reasons for that. Of course, inflation, resellers, all that stuff. It could be a topic for another video. If you want a video about thrift stores and how they sometimes suck nowadays, then let me know. But those are my thoughts. I still love thrifting and I will continue thrift in 2025, but I also will start buying more new things. I also sew clothes, so that is the main thing that I do. I would say it is still worth it to thrift in 2025. You can still find a lot of beautiful and unique pieces. And if you have never tried, I really would encourage you to do so. If you want a guide how to thrift and all that stuff, then let me know because I have a lot of tips and a lot of knowledge. Oh, one more thing. I almost forgot. So over the past 7 years, there were some things that I had to buy new, and I'm gonna just tell you quickly about those. Of course, things like underwear, undergarments, bras, lingerie, I would always buy new. I know there are a lot of people that thrift those items. I personally would buy them new. And another big thing is shoes. And I hate that fact because I personally love a vintage kitten heel. For the longest time, vintage kitten heels or just kitten heels in general were not popular, and I could never find them in normal stores. Now they're popular, so I can buy them new if I want to, but I still love a vintage kitten heel, even though I know it is not good for me to buy them secondhand. And the reason for it is that shoes should be worn by only one person, the first owner, because they adjust to the way you walk, they adjust to your feet. I mean, feet sweat. It's just extremely important to have good shoes for your feet. So I would avoid buying shoes secondhand as much as I can. And if the shoe is basically brand new, you can tell if it is. And again, I can do a video about it if you want. Then I think it's okay. But I would never buy running shoes, sports shoes, sandals secondhand. So that is one thing that I wanted to say. I would absolutely encourage you to try thrifting. In the future, I'll do more videos about how to thrift. I'm going to talk also about clothing quality. So if you want to learn about clothing quality, then definitely subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.